A show that tackles the big issues affecting the BVI and the rest of the Caribbean. Searches for answers to today's big questions and gives viewers a unique perspective on developing stories. Follow the big story with me, Kathy Richards, only on JTV. This is The Big Story. I'm Kathy Richards. I want to thank you so much for joining us for this edition. In studio with me today is the Honorable Minister for Natural Resources and Labour, Honorable Melvin Mitch Turnbull. But Cabinet is dissolved while the work continues. You have more work to do and you are on the campaign trail.
Yes, Kathy, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for The Big Story and the entire Virgin Islands family. It is a pleasure to be here, and it is indeed, things are heating up on the campaign trail, but we are ready to do the work for the people of these beautiful Virgin Islands.
So you can help us to understand how you play the balancing act. You still have to take care of the affairs of the territory while you have to still be out there going door to door, letting the people understand what you're up to so that you could get back into office to continue the work that you're doing.
Well, Kathy, it's simple. It's called work. And I think that's what we need to be doing. We need to continue to work, but not work to be elected, work to get to the opportunity and get back to that foundational place where we are working for the people of the Virgin Islands. So that's why I am working. I said, I think right here on The Big Story, that I am a servant leader, lowercase s, servant leader of the people of the Virgin Islands, and I continue to do that. So the balancing act, yes, the work of the government must continue because we are here as ministers appointed by the cabinet. Appointed to the cabinet. We are here until polling day, but the House of Assembly in itself has dissolved. But when the Premier dissolved the House of Assembly, it simply means that the campaign mode has started. Yes, we are waiting for, and I believe it should be announced, the announcement from the Premier when elections would be. But what is important is for me to go back to my foundation, to not just go back, but understand, and I always understood it, where I came from. And I came from the great people of the 2nd electoral district, the great people that made me who I am because of their sacrifice, because of their encouragement, because of their prayers, and even those that were not for me, even those that did not vote for me or do not support me. That gives me more energy to keep going and become a better version of myself on a daily basis. And I believe over the last 4 years, over the last 8 years, but more intensely over the last 3.5 years or 10 months, it has been magnified. I have been stretched, and we have been stretched in this territory, and we have been put against a wall with a Mack truck coming against us. But it takes integrity. And I believe my integrity and my ability to continue to speak and stand on principles and highlight the things that may be unpopular, and a lot of which are coming out in these reports and we're seeing going ahead. I believe those positions for me, while doing the things that I've been doing in the 2nd District over the last 4 years, are important. And I am asking those people within the 2nd District community to give me another opportunity. I have continued and started on this journey with you. I've stood for you after the hurricanes, during the pandemic. We've done so many things together. So I am asking you and asking them to allow me this opportunity to continue to serve on your behalf, to continue to be your voice. Because while there might be others that don't want to use their voice of the people, you can't be the voice of the people if you're not willing to be the voice for the people. So when things may be going good, when things are going bad, and you're not willing to stand up and speak out on it, you have to be the voice for the people. So you can't tell me you're the voice of the people, not willing to be the voice for the people. And I believe my example and my life has been one in this political arena that I have been able to show, not just talk it, but be it. The things that have been highlighted and been identified, and things that we have done to aggressively move this country forward and move the 2nd District forward, I believe is important, because the more I hop on it, yes, it gets completed, and yes, it takes time. And the Just Van Dyke Primary School, I remember we did 2 interviews, Cappy. In 2019, I believe it was 2020, and then another one in 2021. Yes. But for the better good. And I was willing to take the ridicule. I was willing to take all the abuse because I know my job. My job is to serve the people. So now we have a school being built in Just Van Dyke. Now we have road works completed. Now we have the overlay of the basketball court in King Garden. Now you have the Bruce Bay bathroom, even after 2016, being built and soon to be open, even before election time comes in. These are things that I campaigned for, and I stood for, and I lobbied for in the House of Assembly on behalf of my people, not for me. Kathy, my purpose is much bigger than I am. And anything that I do, if it's not bigger than I am, then I'm doing the wrong thing.
If one person, they can say for the short time that they would have been in the House of Assembly, would have run the pews full circle. You've been from one side to the other, from one side to the other, and then in there in the sense that what happened in this territory in April of 2022, yes. Pardon me, was never something that we would have foreseen or imagined or thought of, but it happened, and it caused a major change in this territory that trusted you from just being not just, but from being on the side of the opposition, or being in because previously you would have had the opportunity to be on the government side, but not as a senior, put you right there in the cabinet for a period. Whoa. It's a full circle.
It's a full circle, but it's called God's plan. And sometimes when we don't understand God's plan, we just have to trust the process. And that's what I do with my life. So because if you left it up to me, I would do things a different way, but I'm not God. I understand what that is about. That's where my faith comes in. But the experience that I've had, even being elected in 2015 and walking away from the government that I was elected with to go on the opposition, and then presented with the unfortunate situation of April 28th and 29th, it happened. These are things that they did happen. But what I was able to understand, and I want to highlight, Kathy, is that even in the COI interviews, one of the things that I realized is not about trying to pass blame or to be puffed up, because pride goeth before a fall, which is what the Bible says. But I knew I fell short too before the COI with my declaring my interests. And I didn't try to pass the buck. I didn't try to shy away from it. I own responsibility, because that's what leaders do. I own responsibility that I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I apologize to the people of the Virgin Islands, to the commission at that time, and since that day that I made the pledge, I have not been late for turning my declaration. But where are we in this country? We are beaten and we are bruised, but we are definitely not broken. And what I believe from my BVI is, no matter what we have gone through in this territory, integrity matters. No matter how many things have come against us, we realize that we are stronger together. So you see this brand that I represent called PVIM, we understand that integrity matters. We understand that this country and this territory, yes, the unfortunate steps, not mistakes, but the steps that have been taken, have highlighted and been highlighted to where our reputational position has been stamped and trampled on the ground. But as long as this BVI can get up and look up, we will get up and we will be stronger, but we're stronger together. We're stronger understanding that we need leaders, and we need persons in this country who would understand that, one, their voice is important, two, that the people are the first and foremost things that we have to be concerned about. And the issues surrounding this territory cannot be manipulated and monopolized to where we cause our people in this territory be dependent on us or worshiping us because we want to get to the next handout. I believe especially the young people who are my age group and are younger, and even the seniors, the elders that are looking back at us, we never wanted and never accepted handouts in the BVI. We want hand-ups. And if I could help my brother, and I help my sister, and I help this young person, and help that young person, when we stand as a BVI, When we stand as a BVI, we are stronger. When we stand in integrity, when we operate in accountability, when we are able to be transparent about the things that we do and the things that we say. If you look at the members of our team on the Progressive Virgin Islands movement, from the leader Ronnie W. Skelter, to Shayna Smith, to Ingrid Moses, to Stacy Buddha Mehta, to Paula Nabal, to then you go down to Sylvia, then you go to Shireen Flax Charles, and yours truly. Look at what we've been able to do about professional and private careers. Look at the things that we've been able to, and that's what we're saying to people, not about popularity, not about all the pomps and circumstance, but look at the track record. Because what we need at this time, in this BVI, at this moment, is persons who not just care, but who are willing and able to do what is necessary for the development of his people. Go back to what the vision that was cast by H.L.S. Stout. I've said it many times. 30 years to educate our people so that we are taking these leadership positions and we are the ones charting our own course. We have gone away from that. We have bachelors, masters, doctorate degrees. We have so many professionals, young persons, old persons, everyone able to contribute to our economy. But we have gone away from it because we started to chase money. We started to look after money and resources. But our deepest and most richest resource, Kathy, is right here in the human capacity of our territory. So I will always stand with the people. I will always be the voice of the people. So no matter what has happened, and it did happen, what we're looking for is a future. And we're looking ahead in terms of what can we do to serve the people of the Virgin Islands so that we all rise together. And people now will say, well, they've been through Irma and Maria. They've been through the pandemic like the rest of the world. They've been through the former premier of their territory being arrested and charged. They've been through persons being investigated from the CY report, but they still continue to stride. And that's where I come in. I have been there.
Okay.
Through the last 4 years on the opposition, raising the banner, raising the alarm, Kathy and BVI, raising the alarm about some of the things that have been going wrong, when I was ridiculed, when I was laughed at, when they were all eyes and I was the only one sometimes saying no, when I was highlighted. And then it took 2 years later that you see them coming out in the reports and you see different things being uncovered, because darkness can only run for as far as darkness can run until a light is shined upon it. So now that you have the light shone upon it, it is not about Mitch to be puffed up and all the things that they are trying to call me about, he just wants to be proven right. No, I'm not want to be proven right. I just wanted you to correct what I was thinking was wrong in the first place. And if we had corrected it ourselves, no one would have to come and tell us what we need to be doing. So where our BVI is, where people are hurting, where families are still going without food, where our young teenagers, both male and female, are being abused sexually, where there's so much domestic violence going on, where we're coming to the month of April, where we talk about abuse, child abuse, and domestic violence abuse, and the different abuses to our children. You know what's significant about that? The color that represents child abuse is blue. How important is that? Because the color blue represents hope. It represents transparency. It represents integrity. So I stand with blue. I stand with PVIM because that's what we're about. We're about inspiration. And Kathy, I just say, I look at where we are and I hear the stories from persons that have stood before me, Honorable Ivan Dawson and other great leaders, H.L. Stout. And then you look at the pastoral, the clergy. My dad is getting ready to hand over the baton to my younger brother, Dr. Mike. After 47, 48 years of serving, my uncle, Bishop Klein, just handed over the baton to his son. There has to be a passing. So I'm not pushing aside the older generation because I have to get the knowledge. I have to get the wisdom. I have to get the guidance from them. That's how we grow. But I'm also creating a pathway that while I'm getting this knowledge, I'm having somebody getting ready to set up to, this is what Mitch is hearing, and this is what I'm going to do, because the path that we have to go on, if we don't do it together, we will continue to be divided.
So, having said all of that, Honorable Turnbull, what is wrong in wanting to be proven correct?
I don't think anything is wrong, but I don't want to be proven right.
Why not?
Because it does no good for the country. It does no
So
good.
I guess you probably looking at it in a different context than,
Yeah.
than I am, because if I've been saying something all along and I'm trying to get your eyes to open to see what I'm saying is the correct thing, and it eventually happens
Yes.
that your eyes get open. What is so wrong in saying, you see, I am correct? Now I want you to trust me when you see I stand up for something, to understand that I see what you are not seeing. You're pulling me along when you say to me, yes, I am correct. I was correct with what I was saying.
And Kathy, unlike the words that are usually flung at me or thrown at me in terms of me being arrogant and pompous, that is not who I am. So while I would say and appreciate the fact that, yes, I did speak about it and now it's proven, I'm not going to go out and toot my horn, because when I look at, again, the greater good is where our country is, where our leaders are, where our children are going to be, where the future is. It doesn't mean no good to say and stand up and say, I told you so. What I'm looking at is, well, it's here. And I said it before. Now, what do we do to fix it? But what I don't excuse is those who don't want to accept responsibility for what they've done, because leadership is about being accountable. You can't just keep passing the buck, and that's what we've been able to do. So if there wasn't a COI and if there wasn't an Auditor General report, a lot of things would be continuing down the road, and a lot of persons would not be aware. But what I would say to you, Kathy, is while I hear your point, and I appreciate it, but it won't ever be a position that I take that I told you so. I'm tooting my own horn, because at the end of the day, I believe in purpose. I believe leadership must follow these simple 4 quadrants.
I didn't put that to you for you to accept my point, but it's to understand how you stand by what you believe in and what you are for, and that's commendable.
I appreciate
Another point, confidence has eroded terribly in this territory. It pains to walk the street or appear in forums or at events to hear persons who are eligible to cast a vote say, not this time, I'm done with it, I'm fed up, it's the same catapults every time, the same set of people going right back there, and I'm not going to be a part of it, not my vote.
And that I've heard. But I'm going to challenge that position, especially for my young people, and even the professionals I've heard it from, because I'm going to challenge, because if you don't come out and vote, then you allow the supporters of those who have continued to operate in this space to be able to get back in. If you're so frustrated with how things have gone wrong, let's not look at parties. Let's not look at popularity. Let's not look at the most enthusiastic song or the most enthusiastic speech. Let's look at the individuals and the group of individuals who are standing before you and see their track record. Look a little bit deeper. Look a little bit more intensely. And then you will say, well, I believe Mitch was there. I believe Ronnie Skelton was there. I believe they have been consistent. They have been persistent, because I would say this without a shadow of a doubt. My leader, my chairman of Progressive Virgin Islands Movement, his name didn't come up in the COI. He didn't have to answer some of the questions that some others asked him. I had to answer the same questions everybody. It was surrounding the Declaration of Interest, which we just spoke about. But look at the different groups. Look at the reports that are coming up from the ministries which we have before us. Yes, so there has been some things shifted and changed, including my appointment to the Ministry of Natural Resources and Labor. How did that happen? How did Honorable Marlon Penn come into the Ministry of Health when there was somebody sitting there? Those are the questions that we need to interrogate. So I would say to the people of the Virgin Islands, don't give up hope, because hope simply represents that light. It might be a dim light at the end of a dark tunnel, but what we must do is continue to walk lockstep through that tunnel. Lockstep, believing that is not just where I am now, it is where we're going to be. And where we're going to be is a place where this British Virgin Islands community can be something that is now respected locally, regionally, and internationally. And Kathy, I'll say it this way, I'll sum it up this way. When you're looking for leaders, your leaders should be, and this is how I live my life, to effect and exemplify 4 simple quadrants. A leader must be able to have a vision, which simply means you have a plan. You've been hearing me asking about a plan for the last 4 years. What is the plan for the people of the Virgin Islands? When you take all the things that are concerning the people of the Virgin Islands, how are you planning to take us further? And outside of the vision, then you need to be able to be in a position to make a decision. Not popular, not popular, but make a decision that you believe is in the best interest, not for 1 or 2, but where the entire country, the entire facets of the economy on different sides will rise. Have passion. That's where I come in. My passion is young people. My passion are my seniors. My passion are the love for these Virgin Islands which have sacrificed and made me who I am thus far in this life. That's what I live for. And the final thing, Kathy, that I believe in, and again, I'm trying every day to exemplify, is discipline. Be able to not only master my emotions, be able to understand and respect people's point of views, but be disciplined in the vision that we have cast, in the decisions that we have made, and understanding and embracing the passion that we want to go along with. And that disciplinary walk would get these Virgin Islands, would get the people of the 2nd District, would get the people of this entire territory understand that we are better than our current situation. Where we are going in this territory, there's a brighter day ahead.
Should you be elected into government, and probably if your party should make it to be the head of this new administration, would you be comfortable to return to the position of Minister for Labor and Natural Resources? If yes, why? If no, why not?
My first and foremost objective and aspiration is to be returned to the people of the 2nd District. If we are, in fact, successful and the opportunity presents itself, I would accept. I would accept because we've had 10 months. And the first 6.5 of those 10 months was basically trying to understand the things that we needed to address with the COI recommendation. In the Ministry of Natural Resources and Labor, we had two recommendations that we were responsible for, 2 issues of mismanagement of how we distributed Crown lands to individuals and companies. Those things are under investigation currently. That's where I was with it. Natural Resources and Labor, as the story was told, labor was that birth that never gave birth, that birthing problem. So we were in a labor situation, and I've been able to try to work things out and understand some of the nuances that we deal with. From the natural resources, understanding the importance of our environment and getting a little bit more knowledge. So the people within that ministry, the public officers within that ministry, are some of the most intelligent persons that I've ever worked with in my entire life. So if I was given the opportunity, I would accept. But my focus is to represent and walk in that line that persons like Honorable Ivan Dawson walked in the line and represent persons like the Honorable J. Alvin Christopher did. Walk in that line and continue on the steps that I've taken, looking at those examples to represent the people of the 2nd District in totality, letting them know that while I am 2nd District representative, the 2nd District by itself cannot rise to a point that we are above the rest of the territory. While we rise, the 1st District and the 3rd District and the 4th and the 5th and the 6th all the way to the 9th, if we build this entire country that are divided by districts, If we build the districts, we build our country.
Awesome. We're coming down to the wire of this conversation. We could always take days and hours upon hours, but we keep a little bit confined to the time. But quickly before we wrap up, you would have served two terms? Two terms previously, yes. Going for a third.
Yes.
What's your legacy?
My legacy, that's a very interesting question, and I've heard it answered by people who are living. I view legacy not about what you say about yourself. I view legacy about what people would say about you. So I'm not concerned about trying to put things, quote unquote, on a resume to say this is my legacy. What I want to be able to do is like Martin Luther King Jr., is like H.L.S. Stout, is like my dad, Reverend Dr. Melvin A. Turnbull, is like some of the other leaders that have come before us. Be able to cast that vision and operate in integrity and execute plans and execute programs that are beneficial to the people of the Virgin Islands, so that when I would have left the scene, what people would be able to say about me would be things that represents integrity, that represents accountability, that represents empowerment, that represents inspiration. That's what I would look at legacy. So I don't have anything in my mind about legacy. I want my daughter to be proud of me. I want my daughter to continue in her education and say, at least my dad tried, at least my dad did that. And the people that come before, someone will call my name, but I will never be the one to call my name. I am not concerned about my legacy. I'm concerned about building a BVI that's livable, enjoyable, and profitable for you and your children and generations yet to come.
If the people of District 2 are to say, Mitch, we're going to let you take a rest for a little while now, we're going to put you back in, what would you have any regrets? And if you do, what would be that one thing that you would have wished that you would have done differently or had an opportunity to do?
If the people of the 2nd District decided and decided not to return me to office, because I am my hardest critic, I would ask the following questions. What could I have done better? What should I have done better? And immediately what comes to my mind is, ever since being elected from 2015 to 20, and then again returned in 2019, is to speak a little bit louder, to be a little bit more, emphasize a little bit more the things that I believe in, the principal positions that have been, as you would say in your submission, been proven over the times, the things that go against the grain and not just go along with the status quo. I would do it a little bit louder so that people can hear me and understand that it is not about me and it's never been about me. I am trying to represent your need. My background in finance and insurance and sales and marketing, and being an ordained minister, the only ordained minister ever to serve in the House of Assembly.
Oh, yeah?
Those principles and that foundational principle is what guides me along the way. So if the people of the 2nd District was to, and I hope they don't, but if they were, it will be a part of God's plan. And I trust His plan. And I walk according to His plan. But I also understand that the things that I have done, I can only improve on them daily. And that's what I continue to inspire to do each and every waking day, to become a higher and better expression of myself.
30 seconds to tell that in your words to the people of District 2.
2nd District community, your humble servant, Melvin Mitch Turnbull, is asking you yet again, because I stood for you, because I stood with you after the passages of Irma and Maria, because we stood together and went through the pandemic where we have lost so many lives, even this difficult time where we are still losing so many persons in the 2nd District community. Let us not forget the things that we have accomplished together. Let us not forget the lobbying that has been done to get the Just Van Dyke Primary School and to get the Enos Adams Primary School and to get King Artemis Primary School and the basketball court fixed. Let us not forget the times that we've shared together, where I led charges, cutting bushes in our community and blistering up my hands. Let us not forget the amount of children that we'll be able to help and propel into education, one of whom I've sat with and whom I'm very proud of, Demoy Hodge, and the job that he's doing in this BVI, putting the BVI not just on the map, but I still believe that Demoy Hodge will be the first person from the British Virgin Islands that makes it to the NBA. So let us not forget the things that we've been able to overcome and accomplish together. Because at the end of the day, I stand to be your voice, I stand to represent your concerns, and I stand in this House of Assembly with you, asking you, whenever election day is, that you will give me another opportunity to continue on this journey, to serve you to the best of my ability and represent every single concern that you have, no matter if it means standing alone. Because even if I stand alone, you have shown me repeatedly over the last 2 terms that I am not alone. Thank you very much.
And thank you so much, Honorable Turnbull. It's been a pleasure as always. And I want to thank you for taking time out to join us on this edition of The Big Story. I'm Kathy Richards.